Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome on in. Getting a little bit later start, but I was ready to go, but I need to stand up and do some laps, get my legs to quiet down a little bit. But I'm here, and Last night we made some decent progress in ye old game dev coding minds. Um, and we got our textures and everything. I think our texture code and stuff here. So we had left off at putting the data into model objects. If I can find it, yeah, models and materials is where we left off. Which we're just updating what we have there. So let's go and look at what they've done for that. Chapter 7 here, and then chapter 8. Alright, so what did they say? Model data is one of the things, and then oh, excuse me. I think Vulkan model was one of them. Yeah, material lists. Vulkan model, Vulkan material. So Vulkan material, transform material. Which is what's going to call the record texture transition, it looks like. It's got transform models. So they get rid of, looks like they got rid of transform model. Looks like maybe they did get rid of transform model here. Let's see. Receive buffers, record, transfer command. No, they have transform models here. Okay, so what am I seeing over here? It says here transform material, but do I see that here? I still see transform models. Am I looking at the right thing? Graph. Graph Vulkan model. So why am I seeing that? So transform models. Transform material. Oh, that's chapter 7. That's why. Chapter 8. There we go. That would be useful. Yeah, it looks like it's... Oh, they just added above transform models. How do I not see that over here? Oh, there it is. Transform models. Okay. That's what it's saying, is that that's... texture cache, command pool. Okay, so that's the same, it looks like, but just this is added on top of it. Okay, so transform material. Add that to a Vulkan model, which is what for me? Is it just, I guess it's just Vulkan model for me. No. Is it? Bind meshes, prepare model. Yeah, I'm going to have to rectify where I put this stuff at. So, they have a Vulkan model. I think I put that stuff in Vulkan Mesh. Yeah, I put it in Vulkan Mesh. Prepare mesh. Record transfer commands. So, transform models is create textures defined for materials. So create vertex, create index buffer is in here, right? Yes. Core transfer command, okay. So then material here. Transform material. We have a Vulkan material record. Okay, so do I have a material? I have two materials. Oh, the material is, that's one's under common. Okay. So I have the common material that I made. That's ambient diffuse material index. Texture. Vulkan mesh lists. So I just need, so I have texture path here, but I could add in, yeah, wants to have the actual texture. Which, And a Boolean has texture. Okay. I mean, I can put base texture in there. So we're still doing that, I think. So I can do just a reference to it. Yeah. I mean, I don't... It'll be just a reference to the texture in memory. But, alright. I mean, that's what we'll... let's just do that, I guess. As opposed to the texture path. Yeah, I guess we'll do the base texture as opposed to the texture path. Because this has... nothing's calling it. So... I think I have the texture path in the thing. In base texture, right? Well, I've got file name, but not really. I mean, if I need the file name, I'll use it, but I don't think we need the texture path anymore. Once the texture is loaded, it doesn't feel like I would need it anymore. And this is just a reference to it. So I have the texture in there now. So then... texture path. Oh, that's for the Boolean has texture. Texture path is not null. Material texture cache. Texture list. But that's just I don't know. I don't. I mean, on the one hand, I kind of understand why they have a Boolean for whether or not it has a texture or not, but on the other hand, want that in material. So material. Material. So I mean, it says it wants a texture path there. I don't. I feel like I want to put that up in the base there, so we have it. So let's get rid of that. And yeah, we'll put that up in the base texture here. Okay, save that, and then here, and why is that not showing up? Oh, because it's private. Right, and then oh, okay, you here, rid of that. Right, and we do that as well, just so that that is set to something. Because I think we're relying on it later. Okay, and then So Vulcan texture, base texture. Base texture has file name. Do a getter on file name. There we go. All right, so I've got that. They have a has texture. Which we could just put a method on the material, I guess. And I'll just say Boolean has texture. Tills is not blank. Just put it there for when we need it. All right, so that's material. The innards of material. And we want transform material. I don't know why we need a texture list. They don't even use it, do they? Oh, they do. They're adding the texture to the texture list. I guess for meshes that have multiple textures, I guess. It's very weird there. So transform material. So then, where are we looking at? We're looking at mesh here. No, Vulkan mesh. So prepare mesh. So, public. What do they have? Vulkan material. Chord track texture transition. Why wouldn't you put that on the... Why wouldn't you put that on the material class? Because it looks to me like all it's doing is grabbing the... It's just grabbing the texture path. Which I... very confused here. Transform material. Transform material brings back a Vulkan material, but who calls this? Vulkan model calls this. So transform. Vulkan material equals transfer material. Vulkan model, Vulkan material list, add Vulkan material. So, that's in Vulkan model. I think Vulkan, my Vulkan model just calls Vulkan mesh, prepare mesh. Yeah. So if that's the case, this is what annoys me a lot, is that they've made such a mess of their code that I can't, like, it just, it annoys me how they've structured this code, because it's not structured in a way that makes it easy to digest. You know, it's just, and I get that, and I appreciate that every chapter builds upon the previous chapter, but like, they wrote this in such a strange way, right? Like, I've seen a lot of Java code, and this is kind of, it's not, certainly not the worst code I've seen, but it's definitely not written by someone who writes a lot of Java code. It's written by someone who writes a lot of C code and maybe some C++. Because that's the feeling I'm getting from this, because nothing is where you would expect it to be, right? And in some ways it feels like they've, I don't know. I'd like to think that they had started with the end goal and then stripped away all the pieces that were extra. But it feels like this was very stream of consciousness, the way they put this in. Because if they had made the whole thing first, the whole demo app first, and then peeled off the pieces that one by one to get back down to the baseline stuff you need, and then wrote chapters around that, this stuff would actually probably make more sense. Here it feels like stuff feels like it's been shoved into objects where it doesn't belong. Like, why does, I don't know. I don't know why Vulkan model cares about, I don't know why Vulkan model is creating a Vulkan material. Right? I get that Vulkan material in their land exists inside Vulkan model, which is another thing that pisses me off. Like, if you're gonna make another class, make another class. Don't piss around with it. You know, don't pussyfoot around with it. Because they could have easily made a full Vulkan material class with all the stuff related to Vulkan material. Instead, they took this goddamn record approach to it. It's just so ugly the way they've done this. You know, it's just, I'm having trouble. I mean, I would have trouble learning anyway, but I'm having extra trouble trying to, like, figure out what they're doing and why they're doing it here. Because it's not, I mean, I can get the gist of why they're doing it, but it's like, some of this is, I don't know, I see the code, and I see it's written poorly, and it just keeps triggering me every time I look at it. I'm like, I don't want to look at it anymore, but I need to in order to fix it. And now at the same time, I need to translate what they've done into something that actually makes some semblance of sense, for what I want. And that's the part that's really frustrating. It's just like, I appreciate that there's a book out there at all, because this is like the only Vulkan book for LWJGL that exists. But boy howdy, it would be great if it was written by someone who was good at writing code. This is just annoying the shit out of me. Good at writing code is probably harsh. I would say they're good at writing code. They're just not good at writing code that anyone else can actually understand. I think that's the big deal. It's like you need someone who can actually dumb it down for the masses, not someone who's just translating line from a C program to Java. Oh. I need my brain to work here. Is what I need. I need my brain to start working. So what? I feel like this transform material should be under Vulkan material. This is what it's coming down to. It's just, does that? I mean, I guess I can just do it and see if it falls into place. I'm just afraid that as soon as I do that, there's going to be some weird, screwed up interconnection here that throws it all to hell and back again. So it takes material in. This is the other thing that bothers the shit out of me. They'll throw the entire object in there instead of just the one fucking string that they need. Right? It's like literally, I mean, yeah, okay, they have diffuse color here too. But like, you could have had two parameters. Texture path, diffuse color. Done. Right? Instead, they throw this whole goddamn Pojo into it, and then you have to question whether or not you need the whole damn thing or not. It's just... Now, yeah, maybe in a later chapter they're going to use more of this, potentially, but, like, you know, that's a later chapter. We can always change it later. Like, it's... For clarity's sake, just... bring in only the crap that you need. And this... Device... Like, every goddamn thing needs device for some reason. I don't know why. Like, the first thing I want to do is once I get something... Once I get through the vast majority of this book, and I get something that I can sink my teeth into, I'm going to go through and refactor, and I bet you dollars of donuts I can remove 99% of the references to device. You know, like, that are, like, because device is embedded in, like, every goddamn object. I bet you I can get it down to, like, one, and it'd probably make a hell of a lot more sense. It's just we're passing all this crap around, and it's just, what are you doing? Like, you know, I wish the author of this book would understand that less is more. I really wish they had read, like, clean code at some point. Instead of just scoffing at it. All right. Sorry, I'm getting all my frustrations out, but I can't help it. It's just sometimes I get stuck on. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, this is a stupid thing for me to be stuck on, but that's my brain right now. Transform material. So we're in mesh. I have a... Because I feel like we're going to need a Vulcan material thing at some point, right? I know we have a material class, but it's in common. So I can't put that in the material class because it's. So I'm kind of stuck here a little bit. So. Because to me, material is mostly something holding data. But now we need it's no longer just a data. It's no longer just a Pojo, really. It needs to have some business logic in it, essentially. Just Vulcan mesh. Yeah, I think this will have, because this has a reference to just mesh up here. I think this will have a reference to material. Don't I have a reference to material though somewhere, don't I? I guess not. Do I? 8 usages. Model loader. See, model loader does it, which is fine. And then model. Where's this at? Common model material. Wait, no, common model. So yeah, model. Okay, model has the reference to material. Yes, list of materials. So then Vulcan model. Yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a Vulcan material class. And then I'll do what I do here. I do Vulcan mesh, new Vulcan mesh, blah, blah, blah. Prepare mesh, right? And add it to the list. So then I'll have a Vulcan model, Vulcan material list, which may or may not need to be a list, but we'll see. It's a list in the model there, so I'll do it that way so it's more consistent. Yeah, it'll be more consistent. The problem is going to be, I think it calls record transfer command, which is probably why you threw it in there, which is annoying, but at the same time, I can, like, these are private, so I can pull those out into a utility class and just call it from both places. Which I think I might have to do. So let's do this. Let's do new Java class Vulkan material. This is going to be such a... The other problem here is once I go through and try to do my own cleanup, it's going to be such a goddamn mess. Trying to clean these things up, I have a feeling. But at least then I'll have a bigger picture of what's going on. And maybe I'll be able to really take a look at everything and see, like, what are these things in the right spots? And if so, like, even if I have to kind of temporarily move things into like a utility class, and then I decide later on, okay, these are more specific to something, and I can pull them back in again. You know, but the point there is one of the main things I want to do when I refactor this whole thing is make it so that the methods are only taking the things they absolutely need. So if they don't need a full object, they don't take a full object. They take exactly what they need. Unless they're taking like 60% of the object, then whatever. But also I want to make them I want to take the logical units of work, and if there's places where things can be generic a little bit, just kind of compartmentalize them a little bit. And then that way I can rearrange some things to a point where I can start to make sense of it and then move things back and forth, kind of like pieces. And maybe come up with something that at least I can maintain. It may be a completely wrong way to model it, but if it works for my brain and I can explain it, which is the other part, then I can potentially also throw some Java doc in there so that I remember how I did it and why, and then we'll be somewhere at that point. Hey, Outlaw, welcome on in. How you doing? How you feeling? Everything, going all right? Get some sleep and stuff. Let me see. So they were doing transform material. So they're taking a material, a logical device. Okay. So they're just taking material, logical device. So let me... What I'm going to do is I'm going to do private material. Do this, and do this, that, material, material. 50-50, shots haven't quite kicked in yet. Best heck out finally when you synced. Congratulate you on finally sleeping. Yeah, sometimes I wonder, like, because I used to do the sleep tracking on my Fitbit, and sometimes you'd wake up and it'd be like almost passive aggressive. It's like, yeah, you finally got some sleep. Like, I don't feel like I got sleep, but okay. Yeah. No, I get it. Well, I hope the shots kick in sooner rather than later. Yeah, I mean, I had my yearly follow-up with my pulmonary doctor this week, back on Wednesday, and that went well. I mean, he's pleased with all the numbers for my CPAP and everything. The CPAP machine. So that's good. The trick now is to figure out how to sleep again. how to go to sleep is really my problem right now. Because the problem I'm running into is I can't get my brain to shut up for a little bit and let me go to sleep, you know? It's like you're all wound up, and then it's like 1 a.m. You're like, I have to go to bed. I have to go to bed. And your brain's just like, nah, one more YouTube video. Come on, you can do it. Just like, damn it. Yeah, it's trying to. I mean, I have a sleeping pattern. It's just not a very good sleeping pattern right now. You know, I get like, I think the paperwork says I average 6 hours, but really it's more like 5.5. And it's certainly 5.5. It's a better 5.5 than I've ever had, which is good. But it's now not a question of quality now. It's a question of quantity, and I would really like to get, like, last night I passed out and I woke up this morning at like 6.5 hours of sleep, and not only did I feel fantastic today, but I didn't have any pain either, like no back pain or anything, which is really unheard of. So I just completely disappeared from the world for about 6.5 hours and then came back. Watching videos at 3 a.m. Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? It's just like, man, just let me go to sleep, brain. Just let me go to sleep. It's like, no, there's more. There's more YouTube videos you've already watched to watch again. It's like, but I've watched these before. I don't care. You need to watch them again. So yeah. But it's been, you know, it's things are still on the right path. If I could just, you know, continue the weight loss stuff, which has stopped entirely, and I'm trying to get past this hurdle with it, but I'm still dieting and stuff. But it's like the exercise is not sufficient anymore to kind of get over the hump. So just plugging away at it as much as I can. But yeah, he was like, I said that to the doctor, and he's like, yeah, I mean, you should probably do some like GLP-1s and all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, my primary doctor wanted me to, but my insurance company doesn't want to foot the bill for it, so I'm doing it the old-fashioned way. But now I'm kind of like, I should probably, you know, if it does get covered at some point in the future, maybe I should really do it, you know. Hey, Babar, welcome on in. American talk about insurance all the time. Yeah, unfortunately, that's the problem with getting older, is that everything starts. You start having to deal with stuff you didn't have to deal with for a long time. Trust me, the longest time I didn't have any care about insurance, and then suddenly you need it, and then it's like the worst thing in the world. suddenly you have to deal with it, and then it becomes the worst thing in the world. Get older, insurance start costing more. It's not that it costs more, it's that it doesn't cover what it used to cover. Like when I started working, the first job that I had really good coverage. And like, it was like, if I had to go to the doctor for something, it was like a $20 copay, and then that was it. Everything was taken care of. And now all these years later, like, I have a freaking deductible. Was it $4,000 deductible, something like that? Basically pay for everything up to that first $4,000, which means, which I didn't even with like the emergency room visit and all that stuff I had last year, it didn't even get to that point yet. Because a lot of it, because they did some weird accounting on it too, which was crazy. And like, it's just the stuff that they, you know, medical science has improved greatly, and yet no one can afford any of it. Right? That's why I really love to live in Europe. We don't actually care about this stuff. Yeah, no, there's definitely some European countries where it's the medical stuff is a lot better. And there's somewhere it's seems like it's better, but it really isn't. I mean, there's waiting lists everywhere, too, you know. To care about such a primitive thing. Yeah. I mean, the problem is that USA is a rich country, right? Because unfortunately, rich still means powerful, and it's the rich that are writing the rules and getting the rules changed for their own favor so they can get even richer. That's the problem, you know. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that have this. There's a decided lack of empathy in society here too, where it's nobody wants anyone else to get any kind of perceived advantage, even when it's weird. Like, you know, if you're injured or something, in a lot of people's minds, either you have to fight through it, which isn't really possible most of the time, or you just need to die. There's no, like, you know, asking for help kind of thing. And that's just it's just frustrating sometimes, because it's like, that's the real underlying issue, is that there's just that empathy is almost completely gone. And if you're not the one being helped, then you don't deserve help. And that's the part that is just really frustrating to see. It's really, really frustrating. Let's not do talking about the failed society. Yeah. No, I try not to go too far into socio-political things. I try to, this is some of my getting away from it, and just delving into coding and other things. How's Soulframe going? Pretty good. I played a little bit more off camera, and I I found a few more. It's funny how like suddenly I'm now finding world trees. Like I struggled so much to find like the second world tree, and now I'm just like turning around like, oh, there's one over there. It's just funny to see it. And I it's clicking a little bit more now. Um, the problem that I've run into is I need to get the ancestors that I found that I hooked up with. I need to get them to their next bond level, and I have not figured out how to. There's obviously some kind of thing I need to find, and there's clues about it, but I haven't found those things, and I've been looking all over the place for them. So it's just one of those things where it's just like you almost the game requires a lot of patience, and in some cases maybe a little bit too much patience. So I'm hoping that's something that they sort of. I mean, I like it, but it's also frustrating when you want to sit down and you want to make some progress and you can't figure out what the game is looking for, you know? Oh, no problem. No problem, Bob. It's you know, it's I'm a lifelong English speaker and I'm still learning English. Let's put it that way. I know exactly one language and I'm terrible at it, so that's where I'm at. Yeah, it is the game is a very slow, methodical game. In some ways I imagine in some ways it's kind of like Elden Ring, like visually and stuff, and maybe a little bit as far as exploration goes and trying to unlock things, but it's definitely not a Souls-like. It's definitely an action RPG. So yeah, it's okay. Um, actually, actually got back into a little bit back into Albion Online as well. I was playing a little bit of that too. Um, that's a game of like, that's a game where if you don't like PvP like me, there's still a lot of grinding you can do, but it's just, you know, it's just, it's grind for the sake of grind. You know, it's almost like an idle game in many ways, where it's just like get numbers to go up, kind of thing. Okay, so what is the so I'm giving it the material, and then I wanted to I want to put this transform material in there. Uh, oh, you're learning Spring. Um, so you're learning Spring Framework then, or is that a different thing? Because I've used Spring Framework for uh, what's it like? Oh, let me see. The first 5 years I was using struts. So I guess, yeah, 15 years now I've been using Spring Framework. Um, Spring MVC to be more specific. Right now, Vanilla Spring. Okay. Yeah, it's incredibly useful. There's a reason why it's as heavily contributed to, like with open source and all that stuff. It's and maintained. Um, it's incredibly useful. I don't. I stick mostly to Spring MVC um, because I don't like Spring Boot at all for various reasons. But I use it all the time. I mean, I do full stack. My day job is full stack web development. So what I'm doing here, the coding for trying to learn game development is just a side thing that I'm doing. Yeah, the it's it's quite the beast as far as like how big it is and what it does and everything. There's a ton of modules and stuff for it. Um, we use it. I mean, it's the thing that our entire web app just relies on for the most part, with the exception of security. We don't do Spring Security because it's not as good as it used to be. Spring Security, that is. But automatically manage content. Yeah, Spring Boot is the idea behind it is that it's supposed to handle a lot of the boilerplate code for you. And it's supposed to be like a rapid development um, library where you just type in some commands on the command line and it just generates the classes that you need and stuff like that. And you still code them, but it can generate a whole bunch of stuff for you, and kind of take care of a lot of the wiring and plumbing details and stuff like that. The problem is that as soon as you want to do one little thing that's slightly different than what they think you should do, um, you end up having to re-implement all of the boilerplate and all that stuff and adapters and all kinds of things, just to get that working. Um, and also they rely heavily on properties files, and the problem with that is documentation almost never keeps up with it. So a lot of those properties change over time. You do a Google search for them, you get an old property that doesn't work anymore. You get more answers on what to do, and those don't work, and it can be very frustrating from that perspective too. So finally found this Java final boss. Yeah, it's that's why I kind of stick away. Like it's that 1% of the time when you need to do something different than what Spring Boot thinks you should do is why I stay away from it, because that 1% can cost you 90% of your coding time just trying to re-implement all that stuff. And it's like, well, I could have just did that from the very beginning and it would be done. And then if we ever need to change it again, it's right there, you know. A good example of that is if you use Spring Security, like I just looked at it recently and they don't even have support for like multi-factor authentication. If you want to do that, you have to basically re-implement all these adapters and all kinds of other things and all these workarounds to get it to work. And it's just like, I could have just did that from the very beginning, you know, instead of bolting it on after we've already got all kinds of things working, you know, and not charge $150. Yeah. Yeah, it's, I mean, that's Spring Source for you, right? They're all, I mean, that's where they get the bulk of their money is from consulting stuff, you know? Hey, Tech, welcome on in. Welcome on in, Raiders. I am chatting up coding and trying to do some game dev shenanigans here right now, slowly but surely. But welcome on in, everybody. It's going good, Tech. How you doing? Oh man, I'm not. I've made a little bit of progress, but not a lot. I'm running into the issue of I don't like the way they've coded this, and so I'm going off the reservation here a little bit. Just looking at other places to stream at now. I know the new TOS time to run someplace else. Big one is where, yeah, no, I get it. It's but like I said, I we'll have to see on Monday what happens with Twitch because like I said in your chat, I think they're rolling out the turning monetization on for all US streamers. It's just that if you're not an affiliate, you can't cash out, which again, as you pointed out, I don't know how they intend to get around the IRS limitations on that. And I suspect the TOS stuff that you pointed out was maybe them preparing for this. I don't know. All I know is we've known for a long time the bleed purple era has long been dead. And it's just becoming more and more apparent, you know? They plan to do everyone gets full. Yeah, I know. That's the point, right? They're going to get everyone gets ads and all that stuff. Yeah. Why are they doing this to Americans? No, it's pure profit motive, Bob. That's all it is. It's just, yeah, as Tech says, it's just a cash grab. What's his face? Dan Clancy had mentioned a while ago that I think Twitch's primary revenue was, I want to say 70 to 80% of their revenue was from subs and bits. And he wanted to make it so that the vast majority of their revenue was from ads. And that's why suddenly ads are now everywhere and they're crazy amount of them coming up. I actually, one of the ads that came up, I get like a lot of the, you know, the screen shrinks and then you get like an ad around it. And I get a lot of the Amazon ads. And I clicked on one of them to like voice my opinion. And I said, "Hey, I don't want to watch Twitch anymore because I'm watching in dark mode and your freaking ads are bright as hell and I get flashbanged every 5 minutes by these ads that I don't even want for stuff that I would never buy anyway. Like, could you like at least spare a thought to the watchability of the streamers that you don't care about?" you know? Um it's just it's insane. I mean, leave it to them to finally implement a less intrusive ad, only to make it more intrusive. It boggles the mind. It boggles the mind. Stop paying CEO people 500 million a year. If only that day would come, Tech. If only that day would come. I mean, it's the power center has become the almighty dollar. Has become is a little bit generous. It's always has been, but now it's particularly worse. But what are you gonna do? Yeah, I'm hoping that I'm hoping the folks at Moonbeam can pull off a coup and get a lot more people to come over to their platform, because I like what they're doing. But it's very, very different. So I can understand a lot of the hesitation and stuff. You know what I mean? But it's and they a lot of the basic features that you would want, because they were like a Discord like layout. A lot of the features you would expect that you get from Discord, they don't have, because obviously Discord's been around for ages and it takes a while to develop that stuff. But I hope that they can pull something off and get a lot of people over there, because I think they've got the right idea about stuff. Showing profits overnight with what, 20? Oh yeah. Eric can take capitalism so much. Well, I mean, we've there's always been a little bit of hate of capitalism. See, the problem is we were all there's an old saying that we're all one lottery ticket away from riches, and that's kind of the fantasy that's been sold, right? Is that like anybody can become wealthy beyond their wildest dreams, and that's just not the way that works. It never has worked that way, but that's what we were sold on. Oh, so Pennsylvania is purple. It's very diverse. Like we have the usual breakdown of our two major cities are as blue can be, and everything else in the middle is as red can be. And so it's a tug of war there. Yeah. So, but I mean, that gets into Place where lots of upholstery. Oh yeah, yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep, it is. Um, and it's I mean, it's a yeah Amish, Dutch. Yeah, there was a mixing pot. It's a surprisingly large state for not looking so large, right? Like it will take like from where I'm at. Like I'm in the Philadelphia region. It would take me 4.5 hours to drive all the way across the state. You know, um, and that's using the interstate. You know, where you don't have to make any twists and turns. It's diverse. Yeah, yeah. Moved to Poland after the war when you're 16 years old. There you go. Yeah, yeah. We have lots of higher education and stuff, and a lot of national parks and all kinds of stuff. It's a sprawling state in many ways, but it's a lot of there's pockets of civilization all over the place. What are the odds you can ship me a cheesesteak? I could definitely ship you a cheesesteak. It probably wouldn't be very edible by the time it got to you. Outlaw. Well, I say that knowing full well that the amount of grease in a Philly cheesesteak would probably actually preserve it for quite some time. Um, Probably quite some time. Yeah. I mean, you figure I'm only like 45 minutes away from Pat's Steaks and Gino's as well. So, you know. Yeah. Let's see. Hmm. So I want to. All right, so we have material. I have to pass in device, texture cache, command buffer, and a texture list for whatever reason. So I'll have to see what I need there. So transform materials. Let's see if I got this. Really, I should just say Vulcan material. Do I need to do that? What do I do with mesh here? I don't even need to do that. I can just say void here. Void, repair material. Logical device. What else they have? Texture cache. buffer, and a texture list. Let's import class on that. All right. Is there any chance to get a stream about spring? Yeah, I do have some, whatchamacallit, I do have some side projects that I've been working on. I've been working on a streamer, chatbot thing, and I use some spring in that, although the only reason I haven't been streaming that is because I've been working on like the back end of it to do, because I want to do like I wanted to parse the video. Like I wanted to make it do a multi-stream bot as well. So you could use that as a multi-streaming tool. But I also wanted it to be able to, I wanted to run the stream through FFmpeg so that if you wanted to have things on screen, like, because Twitch is getting itchy about like showing chats from other services on the stream and stuff. So what I was proposing to do, and I have to figure out how, if I can do this, is not only could you multi-stream through my bot, but using FFmpeg, I might be able to separate the stream out a little bit to where you can have, say, stuff go to YouTube where YouTube can see all the, you know, the Twitch chat and all that stuff, but Twitch can only see, wouldn't see any of those overlays. Like you could maybe separate the overlays by whatever streaming service you're going to. So if one or the other was antsy about something, you could do something about it and potentially even isolate audio, but I've never even attempted anything like that. So it's all like, maybe I could do it, but I'd have to like really screw around with it a lot to figure that out. And that's the part that I haven't been streaming my work on that because I've been kind of stuck in my own head, like, how do I do this? Like, how would this work? Kind of thing. But I might actually get back to maybe trying some of that on stream maybe next week, because as much as I like the game dev stuff, I also do want to make some progress on that bot because I want to use it for myself more than anything else. When you stream on Twitch, you talk about others that is now having a violation of TOS. Yeah, it's, I mean, Twitch's worst enemy is Twitch, right? That's the way it's always been. That's the way it continues to be. They're very, I think what's happening is they're also very scared because a lot of their big streamers, once they opened up the floodgates to let them multi-stream on YouTube, a lot of them are finding a lot of success on YouTube, and Twitch is going, ooh, this is what it feels like to have to compete. And they realize that they just can't compete, or that they've forgotten how, because they're so self-centered and not looking at taking care of their own streamers, and they don't even know how to take care of their own streamers anymore because they're so divorced from, you know, the rank and file. I mean, there's no clearer instance of that than Clancy advertising his stream on other people's streams. It's like that one rule of etiquette that is almost universal across the platform, and they broke it, you know? Just parse JSON to the database for real life. That's such complicated things. Yeah. Yeah, it's but I mean that's the thing. That's the thing, Bob. It's nice to um it's nice to do some side things and just kind of flex your muscle on other things that kind of like it's all like if you have something that annoys you, like for me it's just trying to find a good streaming bot, because all the ones that I've used have some kind of flaw about them that I don't like. um, you know, you find something like that, and if you have the time, which is the other hard part, you can use that to sort of do more creative things and learn that way, you know? Kick is growing rapidly. Yeah, Kick is. It seems like they've started to clean up their act over there. But they did burn a lot of people early on when it was like, we're all about, you know, we're all about streamers, we're all about the content creators, and then they found out that no, they're all about favoritism and they're all about bots, you know, and they're all about uh, um, promoting their crypto gambling site, you know. But you know, it sounds like maybe they finally have kind of figured out that not all publicity is good publicity, and they've started to maybe clean up a little bit. I've actually been considering starting back up on Kick again, but I'm gonna wait on it for a while, and see what happens, because I don't. They are slowly, like they're maintaining what they've got right now, and it looks like maybe slowly inching up as far as their average and stuff. What I'm more interested in is that it looks to me like they may have, based on the graphs that I've seen of their traffic and stuff, they may have finally started putting the kibosh on some of the bots, the view bots, because their lines are starting to converge a little bit more to like a normal state. So that might be a good sign, but I don't know. You just close your Kick? No, I when I said I might try out Kick again, I meant multi-streaming, not as an only place. I haven't streamed only one streaming site in 8 years, something like that. I've always at least had two. Yeah, I've always at least had two. I stopped streaming on Twitch when I was streaming on Mixer, because Mixer was so much better. But I was still doing Mixer and YouTube, I think. Yeah, and then I did stop briefly again on Twitch when they pulled their multi-streaming stunt the first time around, when they said, you know, all multi-streamers are bad and we're gonna clamp down on them, kind of thing. But they loosened up a little bit on it, I guess, to bring everybody back. Now they're going full crazy cat lady on it. Okay, Bob, thanks for dropping by. I appreciate it, and thanks for the follow as well. I appreciate that. And you have a good day. Yeah, I mean, right now it's just I'm just doing Twitch, YouTube, and Moonbeam right now, um, and maybe I'll add Kick back in. I don't know. I still have to really think about it. Um, it's not it's not high on my priority list. I wanted to. I've even thought about potentially using Beam for the multi-streaming, because Koimiya really likes it a lot. I've been doing the multi-streaming locally. I've been running. I'm running Nginx under Windows subsystem for Linux on my Windows 11 um, box here, and that's doing the multi-streaming, and it works. It works pretty well. Um, it allows me to stream. Don't tell Twitch, but it allows me to stream at a higher resolution and at over on YouTube, so you get the full 2K over there, while still being like the 1080 60 over on Twitch and stuff. But it's non-ideal, because I can't just turn one endpoint on or off without turning everything off and turning it all back on again. So a lot of times especially with YouTube, it's a pain because YouTube doesn't. There's so much set up for a stream that if you want to switch games or something like that, either you have to stop your stream and start a new one, or you just keep on plowing through on the same stream, and then later on you got to go in and like use their tools to like edit out the two portions of it if you want them in different playlists and all that stuff, which can be a pain in and of itself. But it is what it is. Yeah. All right. So prepare material. So you're calling the texture cache. I don't know what we need the has texture for, but I've got that on the other thing, so I don't need to do that. So texture, and it's calling texture record texture transition. Okay, and then adding it to the list. So Vulkan texture, cache dot create texture. How do they get the full path? Material texture. Okay, so material dot. That's definitely not going to work because there's not going to be a texture on the material. this is where I get annoyed here. Okay, so they definitely want a texture path on here. What was that? What the heck was that? Huh. I swear I saw something flash up on my screen there, and it's gone now. I think I'm losing my mind. I think it's finally happened. I think I finally have gone goofy. I think it may have finally happened. Okay, so What do they want here? So I guess they want me to have, I had this on here before, so I guess I'll put it back. Private string, okay, so getter and setter on that. And okay, so I'm gonna get her and Sarah on that. So then I can just put a convenience method on here. There we go. All right, so then back to here. So we want to grab off the material, texture file path, and then what else did they have? Okay, VK format RHG8B8A8 sRGB. Okay. VK14 VK format R8. Oops, R8 G8 B8A8 sRGB. There we go. There we go. With 4, okay. Let's push the boundaries. Texture. So then I've got. So record texture transition, and then texture list add. Diffuse color, texture, has texture array list. What does Vulkan material take? Diffuse color, texture. I already had diffuse color, so I don't know why I would need that again. Texture, has texture, Vulkan mesh list. Oh. Okay. So I just need to do these two things. I don't need to return anything. At least as far as I can tell here. So, core texture transition, texture list. Okay. So that's material. Then in model here, call pair model. So I'm assuming wherever I prepare the mesh, I would prepare the texture. Right? Or, or even in here, I could do, because they do it in, well, they're doing it in model. Are they calling this in a loop? Yeah, they're calling it for every material in material lists. So if they're doing it for every material, then I might as well put it on the material. Yeah, alright, so I might as well put it on... Well, no, they're doing it for every material in the material list, not the mesh. So... But wait, that's the material... Material data, get material list. Fucking material list. Well, okay. They do have it as a separate thing from the meshes. So I'll just put it on the model for now. And if I move it around, I'll move it around later. Hey, Anarchy, welcome on in. How you doing? It's going good. It's going good for me. Just doing a little more, making a little more progress with the coding here. And then I might go for another. Well, we'll see. I might go for another half an hour or so, and then take a break, and then come back and do some Planet Crafter maybe tonight, just to wind down my brain a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see. Get material lists. So that's on the model. I guess I'll put it on the model for right now until I figure out where I'd really rather have it. Although I don't know what they're looping over. Are they really looping over the meshes? Is that what they're doing? Vulkan material list add Vulkan model data. Model data material. Model data get material lists. See, they've got material lists separate from mesh data. Okay, so they do have it separate. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. So we'll say private lists. New array lists. There we go. And then let's get bind. Prepare model. I'm going to say what would I do here though? Well, material's going to texture, right? Right. So, okay. All right. So I'm going to say prepare material. And I'll pass it the No, I'll pass the command buffer. For the, so yeah, Vulkan command buffer. I probably need device as well. Yeah, probably. Okay, so what we do is call, we have to loop over all the material list, right? Going over the material list in the model data, which I haven't put in there yet. Okay. All right, so I need to so where is do I have a Vulkan model data here? I don't think so. What do they say here? Model data. So have material in there as a record, and mesh data as a record. So I've already got a material, so I don't need that. Though it does take a material list, I do need that part. Okay, so I need to add material list to model data, which is where? What is model data? Just has the mesh data lists, material list. That's basically this, right? Mesh data list, material list. Yeah, okay, it's basically this. Okay. And then they're just saying, where's that? Material list. So they're passing in the material list. So I need to pass in the material lists as part of creating a Vulkan model here. Or a list of, yeah. material. Or, let me think here. Yeah, it's probably better to have a list of Vulcan material. This would be, yeah, we have to change it here, but this all has to change anyway, which is fine. But that's the only spot where that's called, so I'm cool with that. Oh. Okay. I need to stand up for a minute and walk around because my legs are being annoying right now. So, give me like 2 minutes and I will be right back, friends. Hang tight. Okay, I'm back. Ah, felt good to get up and stretch for a minute. Welcome on in, Fidget Gaming. How you doing? Doing oh, Minecraft server dev stuff. Nice, nice. Yeah, I am using LWJGL here as well, so some of this is probably familiar. Although I'm doing Vulkan stuff right now. But yeah, I'm using the same framework that Minecraft uses. What kind of game am I developing? My thought was it would be like a space game kind of thing, 3D space game. But I haven't really put too much thought into it, because what I'm doing here is I'm just creating an engine just because I wanted to learn how to do it, kind of as just a hobby thing. If I end up with a game at the end of this that's halfway decent, that's great, but I'm more trying to just learn all the basics. But yeah, my thought has been, I've always wanted like a single player sort of space slice of life kind of thing, where it's like, if you want to just kill some time and like mine asteroids or something, like have like, mechanics for that, or some racing. Like there's not a lot of space racing games that are really good. And I kind of wanted to incorporate some of that too, just kind of like time waster stuff, not devote your entire life to this thing like a lot of the games do, you know. It's AAA hundreds of millions of dollars video game. Yeah, they're too difficult and expensive. Well, I mean, part of it though is breaking that larger problem down into smaller problems, right? So, there's and also, I mean, there's plenty of engines out there now, like Godot engine and stuff, that you get something really, really, really decent going for relatively low amount of effort. Not low amount. I don't want to say low effort, but for a relatively short period of time, you can get some really decent stuff. I'm gonna make games like Telltale games. Oh, there you go. You really wish their engine was public. Make it much easier. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, like a Telltale game, you could kind of do in almost anything, right? Like you could get that going in like Game Maker Studio if you wanted to, or RPG Studio, or one of those things. Like it wouldn't be necessarily the same style, but it would be very like you could have very scripted things in that. So there's things like that. I've also thought about like the source code for. I was talking about this last night. The source code for the build engine, which is what Duke Nukem 3D was built on, has been out there for a while now. And I've always thought about, both that and also Free Space 2 source code's been out there for a while. And I've always thought about like just taking that source code and like translating it to like to Java or something else, just for the fun of just translating it, just to see if I could do it, you know. Heard their engine is very simple layout, consists of only cutscenes and like walk around parts where you search for something or talk to people or with a safe zone like in The Walking Dead. But it's custom and private. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, but again, I think there's a lot of engines out there that you could even model that in without needing that specific engine to do it either. You know. Oh yeah, I know. I've played a bunch of the Telltale games. I like the Tales from the Borderlands quite a bit. Um, but um, but yeah, I mean, there's nothing that says you couldn't. I mean, you could probably, if you watched a tutorial on Godot or something like that, you could probably put something like that together relatively rapidly. It's just the hardest part with that is the art and the music and the voice acting. Like those are the things that cost the tons and tons of money. But having something relatively straightforward, you know, not quite as bad. Walking Dead and Minecraft Story Mode. Yeah, so I played the Tales from Borderlands. I played Minecraft Story Mode, and it was okay. I didn't like it quite as much as Tales from the Borderlands. And I played wasn't Walking Dead. What was the Game of Thrones one I played. That was Telltale. And I played the Batman game that was a Telltale game. What was that other one? I think that was all of them. I never played Wolf Among Us. I heard it was really good. And Walking Dead I was never a big fan of. Um, but yeah, I played quite a few of them. They were good. They were good little time wasters. I the Tales from the Borderlands one always sticks out in my head because it was so legitimately funny at spots and just you know I was more invested in that story than any of the other stories just because the characters were so well modeled and all that stuff. Yeah. And the Batman one was pretty good in its own right. It had a decent enough story. Um, but yeah, it kind of, the problem with the Batman one, I think, was that there's a lot of, Batman is the master detective, and it's kind of, you need a little bit more interactivity to be the master detective than I think what the Telltale engine could really produce. They tried the best with what they had, but there were times when it just felt like it was a little too bare bones. Yeah. Okay, so we'll have the material lists. So really, I just have to loop over the list and call prepare material. Is basically what that comes down to, I think here. So we just do material. Actually, I don't even need to do that. I can just do... Oh, but I gotta pass it the... Yeah, okay. Pair material... device... Command... No, device... Cache command... A game concept for a game that first look I want to call Insomniac's about a universal space bounty hunter that travels across the universe, taking on all kinds of hits, aliens and humans. Or sleeping god, construction, and the defensive anime. Couldn't do it though. Well, it's a good starting point. I mean, yeah. It's I mean, what you do with that is you start at the very beginning, right? Which is you say, okay, I need, is it going to be well, you said you want it to be like a Telltale game. So it's like you get like the basic Telltale mechanics going, right? And then from that point on, it becomes more of a, like, you slowly build upon that to get like your story beats in there and what locations you want them to go to, what scenarios you want them to get into, right? You just like slowly build up from that very basic concept. Oh, you wanted it to be open world. I mean, again, like, you start out with the basic premise, right? Which is you have an open world. So you have this large piece of land that's featureless at first. You have a little square for your, player character, and just get them moving around the net, and then slowly build like obstacles that they have to traverse and get around, and you know what I mean? It's just kind of it's building blocks. You build the house from the foundation up, right? And that's kind of what you do. And when you look at it, it's a ton of work. And yes, it's true that it's a ton of work, but it's not the work that's necessarily difficult. It's the commitment, right? It's the motivation. And that's the part that is the hardest, is just staying motivated long enough for something to come out of it, because something will come out of it. Like, if you're always working on it, there will eventually be a product. It's just how do you stay motivated, and that's the really difficult part. Could not work solo because I'm not an artist. I'm not a musician. I'm not even a game designer. I just write code. And that's what I'm doing, right? I'm just writing code. At the end of the day, the way I look at it is, you need something for them. If you wanted, like, how can I put this? Something has to exist in order for the 3D modelers and the artists and the musicians to do something, right? So worrying about the 3D models and the 3D artistry and the music and all that stuff early on doesn't really help, because it just stops you from doing anything. In reality, you have to get to a point where they actually have something to do, right? And so you can probably, even solo, get to a point where, yeah, it's not going to look great, but functionally it'll work. And then you can start to look at, like, okay, now I have a better idea of where all these things fall in, that's why I say it's like sometimes the best thing you could do is just jump in head first and do what you're good at and get it to something, don't worry about the things you're not good at because you can just fake those things at first. Anybody can, like I have, like the model that I'm loading here is a ship model that I bought on itch.io for $10. Right? I'm not a 3D artist. I'm not a 3D modeler. So I just bought one. I was like, all right, I'll just buy this. I'm not going to ship with that model. It's not going to be a permanent model. It's just something that I needed. I just needed something in order to see that I was making progress. And it's the same thing with all that stuff. There's free music and stuff out there. There's free sound effects. Just as a temporary thing and just kind of get you off your feet. And then later on, the real stuff starts to come into play. Like I downloaded Blender and I'm going to take a video tutorial series on Blender to see if I can learn how to use it to make 3D models. That's not to say I'm going to make anything decent in it, but if I can at least navigate it and make crappy stuff, then that's better than what I've got today, Not very patient when you get to the point where you've been stuck on something for 10 hours, it makes you frustrated. Well, I mean, that's true of anybody. I mean, hell, my day job, as much as I absolutely love my day job as a full stack web developer, but man, there are projects that take me weeks to complete, and by the end of them, I'm just so sick of anything to do with the project. Like you get to the end of it and you're just like, I just want this thing to be done and working because I just hate life right now. So yeah, I totally get that. I mean, that's true of anything, AI can make 3D models now too that you need to touch up and smooth because they look awful, but nonetheless, yeah, it's true. It's true. It's just you have to be careful with that and just make sure that if you're going to release something with that you just be very open and honest about it. That's the only problem right now, because AI is just. Well, it's just plagiarism, honestly. That's just, there's no two ways about it. You try Meshi to make a mask piece, small objects come out first, like a mask or a gun. Ah, okay. Okay. Prefer not to use that. Yeah, no, it's good. It's a tool. Certainly, but there's certain things that you just can't. There are certain things that lend itself better to that tool than others. Like searching for answers. It can be used as an initiator for the search, but then you really need to like search yourself. Like a lot of times I'll use it in a capacity where I don't know what search terms to search for a particular thing, so I'll ask AI, and then it'll spit out some information, and then from that I can glean search keywords that would better link me with the material that I need to read in order to figure something out. That's mostly the capacity I've used it in, or just like absolutely boilerplate. Or not boilerplate, but absolutely brain dead operations, repetitive operations, where, for instance, like wiring up a database column or something like that has like 20 columns in it. Like it's, at that point, there's only really one way to do it. So typing it out versus having an AI type out the exact same thing you were going to type out and the exact same thing everyone else was going to type out. At that point, it's kind of, you might as well let the AI loose on it. Um, you know, because there is no, it's not, what you're going to write is not going to be any different from anyone else, what anyone else wrote at that point. Sad to see human artists losing their job over VSA. Yeah, yeah, it's yeah. There's been a lot of discussions even at my work about AI and its use and all that stuff, and it's like even for just development, it's kind of it's a rough subject because the people one of our biggest problems, I think, in general as developers is that it looks like what we're doing is magic and we don't sufficiently describe or sufficiently teach people about what it is that we do. And so when this magic AI thing comes around and can do what we do theoretically, according to people who don't know what we do, faster and cheaper, they want to gravitate towards that, because we haven't done a very good job of like explaining why, explaining the how we do things, and they're going to find out the hard way when they have all kinds of security flaws and all kinds of other things going on that, there's a reason humans have been doing it. And there's a reason why humans are slow and methodical about things. Hopefully they learn it sooner rather than later, because I really feel like I really feel like that what we're in right now is an AI bubble. And when it bursts, I think it's going to be a thing. It's going to really, the amount of the billions and billions of dollars are being dumped into these AI companies and then have them just disappear overnight. It's going to be just absolutely devastating to the industry and all that stuff. Maybe even worse than the .com busts, but we'll see. Hollywood level CGI, they use AI for as a whole different kind of AI. It's not generative. Yeah, no, and that's the thing too. It's like the generative AI stuff is kind of muddied the waters as far as like AI, but we've had some form of AI for a while. We've had learning systems for a while. It's just that, and we've had smaller forms of AI too that can, smooth out pictures and do other things, facial recognition, stuff like that. It's just the LLM stuff has dominated the news because they're pushing hard to get as many people signed up for it as they can, thinking it's the next greatest thing. And, it's just another tool in the toolbox. Yeah, yeah. They didn't use the term. Yeah, right, exactly. It was, we started out with, we've had learning systems for a long time, and that's the whole, like, you go onto a Q&A site and you type a question, and it looks through the documentation and finds you an answer. We've had those for a while. We've had, um, voice recognition AI things for when you call up a company and it tries to figure out where to send you and all that stuff. Oh, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I very much appreciate it. Thank you for that. Um, and yeah, there's I mean it's marketing, right? They found yet another way to market ice to a to a penguin. You know, I mean, that's really what it is. Oh, well, welcome on in. Um, yeah, I mean that's what it comes down to. That's just what they. It's just a marketing thing. Um, yeah, I follow Outlaw as well. So I need. In fact, I need Outlaw to get back to streaming on Monday because I need someone to listen to while I do work. I'm running out of streamers to listen to while I do work. He needs to he needs to get it together. he needs to he needs to get it all. He needs to get it together. This shot needs to kick in. Working on it. I I was testing to see if you were still listening. Outlaw. uh, let's see. What do we got here? So what do we need? I need device. I need the texture cache and the command buffer. The texture lists, texture cache, and the command. Where the hell are they getting the texture cache from? Yeah, who calls this? Texture cache, command texture lists. Passing texture cache in there. Where's texture lists? Oh, it's just a new list. Okay. So you're passing texture cache in. Um. I guess I can do that here. Yeah, Vulkan texture cache. Let's do that. In prepare model, and then we'll pass that down to here. Okay, so I got that. Okay, and then... But actually, I need this, and we'll pass the texture list in. All right, because then we have to do... So I'll say, how do I do this? Model. No. No, we have material lists. Wait, don't I loop over material lists? Oh, I'm looping over it already. Okay. Right, okay. So in reality I could do, well, I'll leave it separate. So we'll do lists, Vulkan, texture, new array lists, here material, command buffer, device, cache, texture lists. Okay. All right. Happened to notice that it was telling me 3 spaces down there, and I was like, yeah, that's what I wanted to be. And it was, I forgot, this is a new install, so I had to set it to the right indent amount. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the sub, Fidget. I appreciate it. I am trying to get to 500 subs on the YouTubes. And then once we get there, I can start to focus on trying to get to the 3,000 hours needed to unlock memberships. I would like to unlock memberships on YouTube at some point. Just to say that I did it, not really for any monetary reason, but I just really wanted to do that. So played Forza Horizon 2 10 years ago. The game's pretty much, yeah. I liked the Forza Horizon games. I missed out on the first Forza Horizon, and now it's gone. Like I can't find it anywhere. So I'm bummed about that. But yeah, I have Forza Horizon 2 and 3. And I also have 4, but I haven't actually played through. I don't think I played through 4 at all yet. Because I was playing 3 with the, or is it? No, I've played 4. But I was playing 4. I didn't finish 4. I was doing some of the Lego stuff. Then 5 is the one I have, but I haven't played yet. Too Fast and Furious Edition is one of your favorites because of nostalgia, and 4 is the other favorite. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, 4. Yeah, I have played through 4 then. I haven't finished 4, but I played through a bunch of it. And then I also have, so I I started playing. One of my favorites is Test Drive Unlimited, um, and I've got some playthrough of that. I didn't play through the entire thing, but I have some streams of that on the live streams channel, and I did play a little bit of the Crew 2, but not a whole lot. I played a little bit of the original Crew, but that's now dead as well, so that's another one. But I've played a little bit of the Crew 2, and it's okay. I really need to return to that at some point, because that was I've heard it's gotten better over the years. And I also have, like, Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown came out several months ago, and I haven't gotten around to really playing it since it came out. Like, I played the preview of it. I'd like to play it again with the full version if I can, especially now that I'm on Linux, and see how it performs. And then also, every so often I drop back into Burnout Paradise. Burnout Paradise was really fun. So I do that occasionally. There was another Burnout, I think it was Burnout Revenge, that I really liked too. Played a little bit of that. Yeah, that's Turn 10 and all them. They're just like, and Microsoft, they just kind of remove that stuff really quickly from Steam. Some of it I think is the car licenses, but I mean, this is why the Stop Killing Games initiative is so freaking important. I hope everyone is who is a voting age in the EU has signed it, because these things just, like, all they needed to do, right? Like, I get it. You have a license for the logos and the cars and stuff like that. I get it. But you know that there's going to be a limited time on that. Or you have a license on the music, and you know you're going to have a limited time on the music. It's just have a fallback. You know, like, okay, we know the licenses are going to be up on this. We'll patch the game one last time with generic cars, and some other, music that we can get a better license on. And here you go. You can continue to play the game. You won't have the cars that you had before, but you'll still be able to play it. And that's the thing that just drives me insane, And the online servers, I mean, it's okay if those go away. Like, just let it be a single player game at that point. Like, it, I mean, most people play it single player anyway. you know can't you get a permanent license for copyright material? uh you can. It comes down to whether or not you want to pay the price for it, right? Because, like, that all comes down to negotiations. You're negotiating for a license, and you can get a company to give you a perpetual license, but more than likely they're going to charge you, $70 million as opposed to, like, $1 million, So that's the rub. I mean, that's, I almost, to me, it feels like they put more emphasis on those name brand cars than they ought to, right? Like, it's the mechanics and stuff that keeps people coming back. The actual gameplay that keeps people coming back, not the the fact that they're driving a Beamer. Right, exactly. I was thinking about like GTA 3 and stuff, like GTA 3, GTA 4, GTA 5. They all they just gave you random, made up names for cars because it doesn't take away the enjoyment of driving those cars. They're still very enjoyable. In fact, a really good example of it is Sleeping Dogs. I've often called Sleeping Dogs a racing game, even though it's a GTA like game. The racing in that game is super addictive and fun. Like it's just, and that's not. It's just like a small portion of the game. It's not even like the whole point of playing that game, and yet it's just really fun for some reason. Are blatantly based on real makes and models anyway. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just but they've changed the names enough that there's no liability there, right? So it's, I mean, that's the thing. And to be fair, when you're creating a game called Grand Theft Auto, you're going to have trouble getting automobile manufacturers on board anyway, right? So, and it's also in in some ways it makes the game more fun too because a lot of the automobile manufacturers, as part of their license agreements, you're not allowed to damage the cars, right? It can only be cosmetic, if anything. Um, and so you have these very unrealistic crashes and stuff in these cars. Whereas, GTA can be like, well, screw it. We don't have to worry about that. We can deform and beat the crap out of this car all we want. The Bugatti in GTA is Lamborghini. Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, I think. I mean, I haven't. We haven't gotten that far, but it's okay. My brain has not been working all that well today anyway. Um, so we got further. We got as far as I could get with with my brain just not wanting to function properly. So this is good. We'll come back to this next week. We'll do some more stuff. Vapid is for, yeah, pick up trucks and explorers. Yeah. GTA 6, the cars look so good. Yeah, GTA 6 itself looks really good. But then you got to think too. GTA 5 has been out for a very long time, right? And so GTA 6 is bound to look good because it's just technology has moved so far along. Look at the pickup truck. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, engines have made such a leaps and bounds since GTA 5 came out. So, yeah, I would imagine that it would jump quite a bit there. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna stop here for tonight for the coding stuff. We'll come back to this next week and do some more things. Um, I may also bring in. I may also jump back to my streamer bot stuff and do a little bit of that maybe too. We'll see. Um, we'll see how it goes. But what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna go offline for a bit, maybe an hour, and I'm gonna come back and we'll jump into some Planet Crafter. So that's what I'm gonna do. Um, and then just kind of chill in some Planecrafter tonight for a little while and have some good cozy building stuff. So that's the plan. So yeah, like I said, I'll take about an hour. I'll be offline for about an hour, and then I'll be back. So that's it for me for right now. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. If you happen to run across this on the YouTubes and you have a like and or subscribe that you can toss my way, that would help out tremendously. I appreciate it greatly. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I wonder if there is... I gotta remember that it's not that late at night, so let me see if there's anyone live right now. See what I can see here. Let's go to this, perhaps, and no, about the only thing I could do is raid tech back again. But I think we'll let that slide. I don't see anyone else on right now. So we'll leave it at that, my friends. I'll let you guys disperse on your own. If you don't have somebody you can raid. I don't know who that is. Let's see. Let's see here. I was playing Star Citizen. Cool. All right. Well, he's playing Star Citizen. All right. I wonder if it'll let me raid him. We'll try. Okay. I will try that. Anyway. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I hope everyone has an excellent morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on what it is for you. I hope to see you back here again in the future for some more stuff, whatever happens to suit your fancy. Until then, see you, bye.
So Who are you and how did you get in here?
I'm the locksmith. And I'm the locksmith.